Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we'll be learning about the first tanks. Okay, so first off, I'll only be talking about British, French, and German tanks. First, the British, who made the first tanks. The first tank prototype, Little Willie, was unveiled in September 1915 by the British. It proved the idea of an armored vehicle with conveyor belt-like tracks over its wheels that could break through enemy lines and traverse difficult territory. When it was first used, it was amazing and had no problems at all.
It's not true.
To list a few problems, it was slow, couldn't cross trenches, and it commonly overheated. After the tank's underwhelming performance, a second model, called Big Willie, quickly followed. Designed to cross wide trenches, it was accepted by the British Army, which ordered 100 tanks of this type, called Mark I, in February 1916. It was first used at the Battle of the Somme near
Courcelette, France,
on September 15th of 1916. This first batch of tanks were hot, noisy, and suffered mechanical malfunctions on the battlefield. Further design improvements were made, and at the
Battle of Cambrai,
in November 1917, where 400 Mark IVs proved much more successful than the Mark I, capturing 8,000 enemy troops and 100 guns.
Now France. While the British were designing tanks, so was France. Like the very first British tank, the first French tank, the Schneider, amounted to an armored box on a tractor chassis. 400 were ordered in February 1916. But French tanks were not used until April 1917. These first tanks, French and British, however, were too slow, big, and had many malfunctions. In consequence, demand grew for a lighter, faster type of tank.
This led to the development of the Renault FT, a French tank. It sported many revolutionary features that are common in tanks to this day. It was the first to have a turret that could spin 360 degrees, and the engine was located in the rear. In a separate compartment, a configuration almost every tank since is adopted. The vehicle was able to travel as fast as 7 miles per hour, 11 kilometers per hour, while the British tanks could cruise up to 12. This one was controlled by a driver sitting in the front and the turret by the commander/gunner directly behind him. The plan was to use swarms of these small tanks with accompanying infantry to overwhelm enemy defenses, burst through the trenches, and then fan out. Many of them were made before the war ended, and altogether the French made more tanks than the British. Many Renault FTs survived into the interwar period, with many more modified designs being made during that time, as well as some even being deployed during World War II. Many other countries based their tanks off of the Renault FT, and historians call it the world's first modern tank. The Germans had been thinking about the idea of a tank for a while, just as many other powers in Europe had been. They made many prototypes during the war, but only one type of tank was ever used in battle, the AV-7. A quote from MilitaryFactory.com about the AV-7 is, "The German Empire's primary tank design of World War I became the cumbersome AV-7V system, which weighed 36 tons, featured a crew of 18. Armament was through a single 57mm main gun backed by no fewer than 6 machine guns about the various facings of the whole superstructure. While about 100 of this type were ordered in early 1917, only 20 or so of this total were available before the armistice of November 1918. Beyond the A7V model, there were other tank projects considered, some seriously. Should the war have progressed beyond Christmas of 1918, some of these systems may very well have seen deployment in the bloody and long-running War of the Empires." End quote. The Germans also used many capture tanks during the war.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We are about to hit 100 subscribers, so if you could share my channel with your friends and family, that would be greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions or general comments, put them down below.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the 10 short days ago. We lived out dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie nor quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break bread with us who die, we shall not